Edward, Ed Gell began. He says, how do you tell a client that you have worked so hard for and done so well to go fuck off after they question your work and integrity? Well, I mean, guys, the position of fuck you. I know how Marco handles stuff, but I handle things with a little bit more tact or a little bit more. I'm a bit more reserved for the most part, unless somebody completely offends me. So typically I don't tell a client to go fuck off. I mean, I'll be 100% honest. That's my first instinctual reaction. And there's been many times where I've started to type that out in a nasty email, but my conscience gets the best of me, and I realize that that's very unprofessional. And so I usually, take a few deep breaths, count to 10, or I'll sleep on it overnight, stuff like that. And then I'll go back and revisit. A lot of the times what I'll do is I'll draft out an email explaining like how they were wrong. Right. And then I'll leave it in draft mode, and I'll come back and I'll revisit it, 12 hours later, 24 hours later, whatever. And eventually, over the course of however many times I revisit it, I end up whittling it down to a very diplomatic response to however they treated me. And then I send that out. And I'm very glad that I've done that, because the reason I say that is because I've had in the past, in my younger years, in my earlier days of my career, where I would respond with emotion, and that completely burns that bridge. Right. And when I started exercising a little bit of tact, I found that even though that particular business relationship may have dissolved at that point, I've actually had referrals come through from that business owner that the relationship dissolved, because I handled it in such a diplomatic way. Right. In other words, I was very respectful, even if they completely offended me, I still have. And so, Ed, I'm not, again, we all handle things differently. I know Marco probably has a very different response than I do, but I've actually received business from clients that have the relationship has ended because I handled it the way that I did. And so again, I would encourage you to do what you feel is right. But when it comes to somebody that, does question I just tell them flat out, like, it's obvious that we're not seeing, we're not a good fit for each other at this point. So I would like to part ways, and I wish you and your business all the best. And so that's usually how I wind it up. And again, it might start out with a four paragraph, 2-page letter with me unloading all of my feelings and anger and frustration, blah, blah, blah. But by the time I actually hit send, it's usually a sentence or two saying something like that. Like, we just no longer are a good fit for each other. I wish you all the best. Please feel free to reach out to me at a later date if you change your mind, or blah, 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 something like that. And that's just to leave that bridge, that, not to burn the bridge, to leave that door open for potential business in the future, if not with them, which I may not want to ever have business with them, but possibly from referrals too. So Marco, what would you say?
Dude, no, I'm with you up to the point where they start questioning your work ethic, your integrity, and how you do things, because that's a whole lot different. They're not questioning your work; they're actually questioning you. They're questioning your ethics, your character. That's what I'm gonna tell that person. Man, fuck you. What the fuck's wrong with you? I'm making you all this motherfucking money, and all you can do is question me. Go look at the motherfucking bottom line. And in fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk across the street to the person you hate the most. Yes, that person, that guy who you hate, who is always competing with you and is always beating you for contracts, and I'm going to give him all that work for half the price I'm charging you, just because you're questioning the kind of person that I am, the work that I do, and not only that, man, my character and my integrity, especially when you've done everything you can for that person and you have produced results. Now, having said that, I'm all for not burning bridges. I'm all for being able to tell the person, hey, look, we've come to the end, that there's nothing we can do. We obviously don't agree, as long as they don't cross the line. And if they cross the line, then you're within your every right to tell that person exactly how you feel. And I'm with you, man. In fact, if you need me to ride shotgun, just put me in on the call. I'll handle it.
That's funny. Although I'm gonna disclaim one thing though, as kind of a word of caution. If you are going to unload on somebody because they questioned your character, I would recommend that you do it verbally and not in writing, because if you do it in writing, then that could be published on the web, and it could really destroy your reputation as a business owner, even if you were justified in your response. Does that make sense? Because again, guys, don't put that kind of shit in an email, because that could be published, republished. If you're going to do it verbally. And the only reason I say that is because, you don't want that to come back and bite you in the ass and make you and your business look bad. Even if it was justified, it's gonna shine. It's gonna look bad for you. That's all I would say.
100% in agreement. You do it person to person or in a phone call. Make sure it's not being recorded.
That's right.